come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ramirez from Preston. He's a student, senior. And I'm going to ask all of you to stand, and we're going to say pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you remain standing, please? Ramirez, would you lead us in prayer?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Father God, we thank you for being able to come here today in our right minds. Thank you for giving us leaders who are going to lead us in a new direction and a new dimension. Thank you for being good and just being God. And we thank you each and every day we're able to wake up and breathe and just feel the breath of new life.
Yes.
And we thank you in all things that we do, no matter the circumstance. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And Ramirez is a student at Assembly, and we're going to try to do this every month, have a representative from Assembly. I'm very proud of Assembly. I'm very proud of Ramirez, and the school means a lot to our community. And I want to thank Ramirez for volunteering to come over, and we appreciate you, and anything we can do for you at our school, feel free to call us. We support the school department. And thank you for coming. We'll get a motion for the payroll for month of January, $68,119.17. Let me back up. I need to get approval for the agenda and addition to the agenda. Can I get a motion?
I'd like to visit, spot here, this, reappointment of the city.
We'll go forget it in March agenda. Give everybody time to do the assessment. We'll vote in March. Could I get a motion to approve the attendance and addition? Got a second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Approval for the minutes of January. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion, second, all in favor? All opposed? Aye. Okay, now we need to approve the payroll for January, $68,119.17. Financial statement, and brief comparison, accounts payable, and addition to the accounts payable. Could I get a motion to spread these? Motion, second, all in favor? All opposed? Aye. We go skip. Let's go. Let's go DD. All right, I'm going to deviate from the agenda just a minute, guys. I'm going to ask Ms. Reed, Henry Reed, with the Washington County Emergency Management, and she has a presentation on the search.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to kind of update y'all on the search situation. We came and talked to y'all, it's been almost a year ago, and we got our first search team trained, and through that was through a Homeland Security grant. Well, it took a while for us to get our reimbursement back from that first team, and we finally got it in December, late December. So now we're back on the ball again, starting to gear up, getting all our paperwork in for the Hollandale team. So I just wanted y'all to know why it took so long, and we're back at it again. So we're hoping by March or April, we'll have our CERT team in Hollandale trained and ready to go. As soon as I get my paperwork back for Hollandale from Homeland Security, I will be emailing Miss Helen and getting our ducks in a row. So I just wanted to update y'all on that.
Thank you.
So, all right, thank y'all very much. Oh, I thought you might have a question. We're good.
Okay, at this time, I'm going financial audit we just completed. Mr. Jones and Tuggle, audit firm, and Mr. Mike Tuggle and John. We'll entertain y'all.
Good evening, how's everybody doing? I'm gonna thank everybody has a copy of the report, this morning draft. I'm gonna kind of do a short version just for time's sake. Of course, any of the aldermen have any questions, always feel free to call me. If you want to have an email, you might even have my cell number too. So, I'll go through it kind of quick. The first page was the table of content. The next page is the independent auditor report. And this report is what they call an unmodified opinion. I think when we first started, it was called, they changed the name from, and so it's called unmodified, which means that there's no modification, everything was fine. We didn't have any significant adjustment we had to make to the financial statement. And the report is kind of long. It used to be about 3 or 4 paragraphs, but now it's like 2 pages long now. The new regulation, we have the auditor responsibility, what we are responsible for. They talk about the required supplemental information, which a lot of the budget comparison in the MD&A that we have to put in, which is, once we get through past it, auditor report, the MD&A, which is management discussion analysis, which is really a summary of what the city has done from the last year. To kind of give us a synopsis, pretty much what's in the report. So the next, those 2 pages, the auditor report, like I said, is unmodified, which means everything is fine. It's good. You don't want to modify one, which means you found something that you didn't think was right. And the next, I think the next 3 or 4 pages is the management discussion analysis. Ms. Johnson has to prepare that and give that to us every year, and it's a summary of all the things that have happened in the city since last year. And one page is a budget, is a comparison between 13 and 14. I think that is on page 4. If you look at page 4, it gives you a comparison of your assets, your liability, your net position, your revenue and expenses from one year to the next year. And if you go back up to page 3, right at the top, say financial highlights. She tells that the net asset decreased by $285,000. The total revenue for $1.7 million. The business type, which is the water fund, revenue was $460,000. And the expense of the city was $2.6 million. And then if you go back to 4, you can see how those numbers compare to 13. I know there's always a question about the water revenue, whether you lose, a lot of cities lose money on their water fund. And you can see that the actual revenue from the water fund went down from 2013 was $601,000, and in 14 this was $544. So around almost $60,000 less you collected in the water fund this year than you did the previous year. I know that's a big issue with a lot of cities, whether their water fund is operating in the red or not. And so that's the manager discussion analysis, and Ms. Johnson gives some budgetary highlights, some current known facts. I think the last item in there is it's the lawsuit that is going on, that is in there. And it's required that we put the contact information in case somebody needs to contact the city. It's on the bottom of page 6. And then you go to page 7, it's the statement of net position. Some people refer to it as a balance sheet. That's the new terminology, statement of net position. And it's deal with the total assets. I'm gonna give you after water and the general fund combined. The total assets was $4.7 million at the end of the year. The total liability was, $757,000. And most of that is, the general obligation bond. That's a bit over $300,000 that is those bonds that have been issued. And of course, the net position is, $4,005,000. And on page 9, it's the statement of activity, or some people might refer to as income. Like we mentioned earlier in the synopsis, the expenses the total expense for the year was $2.6 million. And if you look at the line where it says change in net position, that last column said a total of $371,000. The city actually lost a net loss of $371,000 for the current year. And part of that is some of that is the depreciation, which really is not a cash item. I think the depreciation might have been like $128,000. I can see it later on, but you really had like a $200,000 loss. I guess for a small town, that's still not. Yeah, it's still pretty major for a small town. Really $200,000 every year. Page 11 is what we call a reconciliation of fund statement. We just have to reconcile between the governmental fund and the regular fund. And page 12 is the revenue and expenditure and change in fund balance for the governmental fund. But most of the loss actually came in the water fund, because the actual governmental fund, if you take out the depreciation, the loss was actually $57,000, which is not too bad. So most of your loss is actually in the water. But like I said, that total loss was $371,000 the total loss, and so about $300,000 of it is in the water fund. Let me see, and page 13 is what is called a reconciliation between the governmental fund and the total government-wide statement. There'll be a reconciliation because those two fund balances are different once you take out the depreciation. You can see the depreciation there was $235,000. So that kind of makes the loss not so bad, because out of that 371, 235 is depreciation, which really is not cash out of pocket. So not quite as bad as it looks, but if you go to the bank store, most banks will know that depreciation got kind of bagged out, but they'll look at that too if you're trying to get a loan, but it's just a bonus. We'll pay the factor. And on page 14, it's starting off with the water fund, which is statement, which is the balance sheet for the water fund, which is the net position comparative fund. And the water fund had assets of $2.1 million. And it had liability of $348,000. I think most of that is the general obligation bonds. And on page 15, is the statement of fact, the statement of revenue expense and change in net position for the water fund. Which shows the total operating revenue of $460 and the total operating expense of $536. So the water fund actually lost $76,000. And the next one is on page 16 is the statement of cash flow. My college accountant used to say this statement is called "What got and what gone." So they tell you where you got your money from and where it went. Yeah, where it gone. So you actually had a net decrease, you had a change, your cash actually decreased by $98,000 from last year. And this statement kind of tell you what you have lost of 76, we had back to depreciation. You have a decrease in some of the restricted cash, increase in due from other funds. I think that's one that $100,000 transfer, that's figures in here too. Decrease in accounts payable. So your net operating loss with change in cash was $57,000. Purchase fixed asset, I think mostly it was vehicles, $13,000. And your payment on your bonds last year was $28,000, including principal and interest. So you actually had a decrease in your operating cash of $98,000. You can see that the cash on hand at that point in it doesn't include your restricted cash, it's just your general fund cash of $9,618. And then you start in note one is the significant accounting policy, which just gives you all the basic operating procedures, reporting in fund balance, fixed asset. And that goes all the way through to page, about 10 or 12 pages of the note. And I'm trying to see if there's anyone that I need to point out. Ms. Johnson, did the mill rate change this year?
Changed this fiscal year, not last
So
fiscal
it
year.
was still 61?
So you're okay with this report?
Okay. You got a question when did it actually change?
Yeah, you're okay with this report?
Okay. And if you look at page 23, it's a summary of the general fixed asset. You have two, one for the general fund and one for the water fund. If you want to see what actually make up all the different type of assets. And also the depreciation that we include on those assets. And you can see that on the general fund, $135,000 purchase, $128 was police vehicle. And I think the $7,000 was generator. And of course, you had $12,350 in a vehicle purchase in the water fund. Starting on page 24, you can see the balance on all the those bonds that are still outstanding. You got a lease arrangement, you still have a balance of $188,000. The general obligation bond is $98,000 still outstanding. And you're expecting to pay $48,000 interest by the time you pay it off. And the second bond is $6,000 still outstanding. And you're paying interest of $26,000. And the last one is $4,686. So that's all your bonds that are outstanding. And by law, we have to put in information about your pension plan that starts on page 26. And in that second paragraph, we also show how many money we put into the pension fund for 14 versus 13. It's increased by $3,000 from last year, put in a total of $89,000 for the current year. In the custodial credit risk, I think I need to change this number here. Because you are, where it say you have unsecured, the FBI rate is $250,000. Normally you have more than $250,000 in the bank account that you say you're at risk. But the bank deposit guaranteed participate in what they call a collateral pool. And the last sentence in that paragraph is explaining that all your money is really secure because they participate in this collateral pool. And I think most banks does that now, unless you got a really small bank. But the public ends, they do participate in the collateral pool, so all your money is secure. Even though you have more than the 250. On note 8 on page 26, it talks about your compensated assets. That's your leave. The amount of leave time that employees have built up. At right now, you have like $34,000 in invested leave time that employees have built up. And then on page 28, 28 and 29, we just give the budget comparison, budget versus actual. I heard somebody mention about budget versus actual a few minutes ago. So this actually have one in this report for the year in 2014. On page 28 and 29. So if you want to see how your budget and actual versus in the general fund and the water fund. On the general fund, you spent a little more than you actually budgeted, but you also collect a little more than you had budgeted as well, so I guess it works out. But at the end of the day, it had, you had 94,000 over, revenue over expenditures. And the water fund had 130,000, and once you kick in that depreciation we talked about, that's how that water fund with that loss. That small loss, we had that $200,000, and you don't budget the depreciation, so it's not on here as an expense item. Then page 31 is the statement of investment funds, it gives you all the funds that you have in the certificate of deposit is silver savings, and you have a deposit fund for the one and for the water fund of 22,000. And the next one is information on the officer, who they are, how long they've been here. And page 33 is the surety bonds, how much they are for each officer. All those are really state requirements. And page 33 is a schedule of the state and local grant that you have received for the year. We actually had a total of, you spent a total of $456,000 in grant fund this year. That was 226 of the home program and 226 of the sewer pumping station rehab. Those are two major grants you had this year. I think you probably have some home fund next year.
Will you close the project?
Yeah. And the last letter is a couple of pages, a letter on internal control and compliance. And it's also like modified saying you met all the compliance requirements and the internal control was pretty good. And then the last letter is the state law. That's a letter that the state requirements for you. And you want to know that you meet all the state requirements. and you met all the state requirements as well. But overall, you're doing pretty good. So any questions? That's our report. We appreciate the city for trusting us to do the financial audit. And we look forward to a long relationship. So if anybody have any questions, call me at my office or anything. And Wilson Johnson have all my contact information. Anyone have any other questions? Well, we thank you and we'll be seeing you. Mr. Johnson, I'll be talking to you soon. Okay, thank you.
I have a question, right quick, if you don't mind. I was just wondering, the bottom line, I didn't get those numbers correct on the amount that we actually are under. Is that available for us to the public?
You need to direct your question if you want to talk to him private.
Okay.
When
I'll have the report for you.
she had the
Mr.
report.
I'll have the report.
That's what I was asking.
I'll have
Thank you.
the report, and you're
Thank you.
welcome. It's open to the public.
Okay.
For
Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, I had to go back through and figure out what number you was talking about.
I
So
understand.
they give you a copy when you
I
do the found.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go with item 8. in your packages, we have a copy of the checks that the county collected on the Avalon taxes, coordinated and so forth for the December $7,112.90. And you waive for the quarterly franchise fee of $2,812.35. Could I get a motion to spread that on the menu? Could I get a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. And, y'all just heard the auditor report. I need to get a motion, second, to spread that on the minute. Could I get a motion? Second. Have a motion, second, all in favor? Aye. Ayes. Okay, we need to spread on the minutes with Washington County Tax Assessment reduction for 2013 for Bell South Communications. That's what
There was utility taxes for Bell South and personal taxes for Bell South. The assessments were higher in Washington County, and they said a reduction now. Actually, the dollar amount is not there, but we just put it on there.
could I get a motion? Spread this on the minute.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, if you look here at this approval for the lease agreement for the municipality coming year, for Daniel's Aviation, $750 a month, and Longwood Flight Service, $350. Could I get a motion to spread this on the minute? Approval.
That is a match, was increased when they looked at it. They used to pay $300. So actually, yes, the new payment, and he's paying $750. And the other guy is still at the same.
Joe, Daniel, increase 300 to 750. Increase. Yeah. Could I get a motion? Accept this lease agreement. Yes, sir. All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we have the workshop, the municipal, you see the pack there for the municipal clerks and collectors on 318 through 320 in Flowood, and that's the requirement for Ms. Johnson. You just need to spread it on the minute. I need to get a motion to spread this on the minute for the normal hotel, meal expenses. So moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, dispatcher training, February 16th to 17th in Flowood for Mr. Rail and Mr. Clay, and it's reimbursed back to us. And could I get a motion? Could I get a second? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, Mississippi Attorney General Bureau Victims Assistance Training, bring on for the city clerk and the police chief. And this is a free workshop, just permission to attend. So could I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Mayor, you left off one, it's not on you guys' paper, Miss Helen, my training class here at the fire department. You want to spread it on? Is it on?
Right here. For the fire department?
Yeah, we want the use of the fire department for Friday.
Oh, it's not on here, Steve. We
Okay.
need to add it on.
All right.
We can come back to the main fire department.
Yes,
February the 6th.
February 6th.
What time?
Later, 8 o'clock, it's gonna be an 8-hour class, we're gonna do a training class.
On what?
We got different instructors coming, police, ethics, use of force, that type of class we're gonna do.
Could I
This is
get-
for my officers to get their 24-hour accreditation. They have to have it every year. They have to have 24 hours continuing education.
Appreciate it. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Vote second, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Chief. Heat spread on mint to send it back wastewater and lagoon permit renewal. Expires 11/30/2019. I think it's just where they review it with the state wastewater. Send it back where they would review that permit. Could I get a motion to spread that on the minutes?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Ayes have it. Okay, Mr. Kenneth Roberts, does our wastewater, he's monitored the lagoon, and his contract is up renewal from February through December, $1,450 a month, no increase in the pay. I get him, it's something we're required to have, so. Could I get a motion to review Mr. Roberts'
So moved.
contract? I have the motion, no second, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. And then on the Mayor's Health Council, y'all agree with, Department of Health, Mississippi State Department of Health, we got a grant for $4,250. Maybe put the programs on, and we'll have a community meeting, and it's to get food with, and they pay a stipend to ladies, but we had organized the program, meet once a month, and I just need to spread this on the minute, accept the grant, that $4,250
But fee,
So well, if you come to the meeting, sometimes they have knickknacks, and we go have a community, we go have a meeting here.
that's what.
On February the 6th. Right. It's just big with the public on healthy eating, exercise program, tobacco-free city. We have a meeting every second Monday here at City Hall. Everybody's welcome to attend. Okay, could I get a motion to accept the grant? Have a motion? Second, all in favor? Aye. There you go. This, on municipal airport, Garner Engineering is requesting, payment out of the grant for Scott Electric for $15,800 for installation of the new rotating beacon light at the airport. This is a request to pay, and it comes out of our grant. Could I get a motion to approve this?
So moved. I'm gonna ask a question. They replaced the beacon light there? Well, it wasn't vandalized or nothing.
No, it's just in that upgrade from the grant.
So you finally stopped shooting them out.
So far. Could I get, I have a motion second? Second. All in favor?
Yeah.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Heat spread on the minutes reimbursement for the CoreLogic tax service. 66755. That's the overpayment of taxes. $677.55, an overpayment to Ms. Woody Teresa Rutland for $4. I just need to spread this on the minute. It's just an overpayment.
So moved.
Motion, second, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. And we applied for grant extension for the home rehab project. It was ending will be ending 6/30/15. That's in the packet. And a grant extension for the sewer system project, the CDBG grant, ending on February 28th of this year. And they approved both grant extensions. That's been extended. Could I get a motion to spread these two items?
So moved.
Get a second.
Second.
Have a motion second, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, approval of property insurance and travelers insurance agency. And that's that's the cheapest. Right now, that's the cheapest. We checked several insurance companies as far as property insurance and liability. Well, it's just our property insurance. That's, you know, the liability, all these costs. And $34,458, and we're still checking with other agencies. Not many folks like it. Municipal insurance is what we're finding. And it's paid by the quarter, not all this is paid. Broken out by the quarter. Right now, I'm asking for approval. We're still searching. We pay by the quarter. We can change any time if we find a better rate. So could I get a motion to approve this?
Second.
Have a motion second, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Let's get this, I had, if you look on the addition, of course, we've done Johnson, Togo, we have a payment request for the sewer system project from Suncoast Infrastructure for $125,409.78. That's the upgrades they did. They did the, you know, the upgrades with the money we had left over, raised some of the sewer drain. But that will close this project out. So, need a motion to put the final payment request for the sewer system project. Could I get a motion? Can I get a second? Have a motion second, all in favor? Ayes have it. And this is the payment request from Guard Engineering for their part of the project, $9,965.12, and this finish that project up and get them paid out of that grant. Could I get a motion?
So,
Get a second? Have a motion second, all in favor? Ayes have it. Approved for Hollandale Municipal Airport Engineering Agreement. I just need to spread that on the net. Could I get a motion? Second. Motion second, all in favor? Ayes have it. Tax billing summary for 2006 that's the property taxes. You have in the packet there, that's for the homestead. That was- This is what we got. Okay, the $557,306 less special homestead exemption credit, which was $480,632, which netted us what, $470? Netted us $476,674. Second? Second. Have a second. Spread on here. All in favor? Ayes have it. And this, utility taxes is, you're having to get for information.
That's what you
The
mentioned.
South Central Bell and Energy and Twin County on their property tax. Ms. Johnson made her report.
Yeah, basically, I was hoping.
We'll go do this. Mr. drain.
Yes. Like to say good evening to everyone. Board. I started seeing we get some clean that down to our workstation, which is the city lawn. We got some things taken care of there that we had very sort of eyesight around that, and we got a chance to kind of recorrect, and we're trying to keep it organized around there best we can. We got that fence up pretty much with what we, with the material that was already there. Anytime we can get a fence there, it'd be nice, but keeping the debris down, gate lock and picking up off the streets instead of allowing them to just bring it in and just overpower us with it. So we're doing it, it's working out pretty good there for us. We got that big pump back in, that pump motor. We got it. I picked it up this morning. It's placed back in the building, down at the old treatment plant. Placed back in the building, but it's got to be, we got to be set up for rotation. Make sure the rotation gonna be going right before we can get it mounted. But it is back and it is inside the building. So, and they are gonna come shortly and put that back in for us. So, and then we're tied on. So that's good news, isn't that right? Mm-hmm. All right. I want to talk about Sanders Street, over Sanders Estate. I mentioned that a few times when I talked to y'all, but it's getting a little worse. So I just want you to heads up on that Sanders Street over there in Sanders Estate. Also, that the street Carriers Alley is about to be away on us. So I guess just take a look and see what we can do there. Also, very important street is East Avenue. It's going to give us a lot of problems. East Avenue, you can pick any of it, but East Avenue is really costly.
I noticed it's right there at the intersection, right down there by the rig coming in, and right here. That's what mostly tearing up there. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. It really needs to be paid though.
Yeah, right.
East Avenue itself, because it's starting to drip on both sides, and the street itself is going to separate where the drip is on both sides. Plus, it's just eating away. The rain ain't helping it. We can patch on, but they're just getting us by.
You know, we get the trucks coming in right here by the fire station, then trucks coming in right here. And then, I ain't jumping ahead of myself, right there about rigs, that catch coming on morning, about a G.
Yes. I talked with this peer right about a gene for Crouch. The Crouch is really messed up, but Mr. Perry can come in there and smooth it over for us. And that's going to be taken care of, but East Avenue itself is going to be, really need to be looked at before it gets too far in. Before we get too far gone. I want to mention the bush hog. We're 2 months into the new year, and before long, it'll be here. So I just want to make mention of it beforehand. There was a hole that was created on Church Street. I thought it was, maybe it's been a water leak or something, but it wasn't what it looks like. It looks like after the heavy equipment had gotten over there, got everything cleaned away. They made a cave in because it was heavy. But the water wasn't leaving fast enough from the drains, and it was bagging up, washing away on there. That's all I could find. So what I did, I went on and packed it and passed it real good. So it's back open. Travel on that side.
What street was that?
That's Church Street.
What about the tree?
Right. And the equipment over there was kind of heavy. And still, we had more trees to fall while they were cutting it, and it was still big dentures. Kind of broke the concrete in, so we got that kind of patched up pretty good. One other thing I wanted to ask you, I know we had that truck one for auction, but I was going to ask you, I'd really like to kind of see what's causing that problem to that truck, and hopefully we can keep that truck. It's hard to come back. And if you can find, if I can get that, diagnostic machine, get on the diagnostic machine, and if it's too big a problem for us, then we just fool with it. But just that problem right there, if we could, if it's not too far gone, realize that either we had the auction, but nobody's picked up anything, I ain't got, for a good while now.
You telling the truck?
It's a 2006 Dodge Ram. Truck one. I would like to take it over there to Greenville. The guy's pretty good over there, and I don't think he'll charge us, but just to see, you put that on that machine. All right. That's all I had.
I got some comments, I got some good comments about the water being fast. I told them an hour, and be cut off an hour, and get back home 30, 40 minutes. So they said we getting better. So that was some good comments.
I appreciate it.
Good evening. How's everybody? I ain't got very much, for the fire run. Let me see, I had one in Malaco, which was a smoke scare. And one of those partners there, and it was wrong that it was, operating the funnel there with no way of gauging it. Turn it on, turn it off, so we had no way of controlling the temperature. And so we got in contact with the gas company and shut the gas off, kept it off. Took me probably nothing to fix that. And we got that going. Had one counter on the truck drive on 61 North, and we put it $200 for that one.
I made the call.
Yes, you made the call.
Yeah, but he just couldn't put $200 for that one. And today, we in the pipeline training class in Greenville at the Convention Center. My meal was about a 2-hour class, and I told my fireman went at 11:30 scheduled time, and I got some going at 6 o'clock. And then that certification class is still going on in Rosenthal, and some of the guys are still going to that class. It's kind of tough up here to be working, like not working long hours, kind of hard, so we're doing good. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, no. Well, I guess it's down to me, I'll tell you what, I know we need a lot of stuff, but I don't think these grants are hard, but I will tell you, we have grant applications in for a new track in Bush Hall and a limb truck that pick these limbs up. Eddie's gonna, I know a lot of folks may not ride by that, we got the city barn, Eddie's got it back in real good shape, real good. Been this month really working on street lights, energy is fixed about 14 to 15 the last 2 weeks. I hadn't even run this by the board, I'm working with energy, we fixed to replace all the street lights downtown. try to brighten it up, make us look like something anyway. Got 9, I've got a contract there now, me and Miss Johnson trying to figure out the money, and we're doing a street light assessment on energy throughout the town. We got some 150 watt bulbs, 400 watt lights, some 250 lights, some halogen lights, and some sodium high pressure lights. Energy is doing an assessment, and we're gonna try to get all the street lights back like they're supposed to be. We're paying, just like the guy from Energy told me, he said, looked like what they had on the truck is what we put up. And probably gonna be no cost, because we're gonna try to get everything to a 250 watt light that's on energy. I'm not talking about Twin County now, but this is energy. We're doing, the guy in South Haven's doing an assessment on that, and try to get our street lights back. We had a pass level out, and believe it or not, I do ride it some at night, mark them, get Twin County to try to get them fixed, and energy, they are getting a whole lot better. But that's where we stand. As y'all know, we had a new business open up in town yesterday. It's real nice. And let's try to support it, you know, all we can. And, it's a shame the elderly people have to pay somebody $20, $25 to share the money. And maybe, you know, we get 3 things downtown, maybe we can get something else. We're steady working on it every day, and I promise the people, Ms. Johnson, City Clerk, we're steady planning to work on grant applications to get some money somewhere. A lot of it's in kind, and a lot of it's a matching grant, but they're tight, and I realize, and we're working on, and it's forthcoming painting new lines on East Avenue. I know you can't have see up to there. It's just trying to, y'all heard the audit before, we got to stay within the budget. If you haven't got it, you can't spend it. That'll get you in more trouble down the road than you can get out of. And I made a promise, I'm not gonna spend more than we take in. And I know we're not a profit organization, but you've got to pay as you go. And that's a lot of things, we had the money we could get done, but we're not destitute. But, and our water situation, we already knew where our problem is, but I'll assure you, we're doing some things right now to try to recoup some of that revenue. We know we got some problems, and we think we know where some of them are in. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff this month to see where we get on this. We're going back to the old way. Instead of this computer, we think start reading meters by hand and see where we got problems and how much revenue we missing. But if anybody's got questions for me, I'll entertain them right now. But that's where we're starting. I'm not trying to give you the state of the state. But, we're trying to do what's right for everybody. And we'll do the best we can. You know, any help, if you see a light or something out, you know, report it. And let's all try to work together to get some of these problems corrected. We're trying to clean the place up, and I know we're making a little progress there. And I thank the citizens for working with me. And I don't claim to know everything, but I don't mind working. And, you know, let's work together and try to clean the place up and make it look like something. That's my goal. But you got a question?
A question, yeah, possibly. I remember hearing recently that building over here on West Avenue, the one that's been donated to the city. The building? Yeah, the Hayes building, right. And I remember last meeting you were saying we had grant money to do parks and things of this nature. Matching grants available, right. I think you might possibly look into trying to get that building back up some sort of way so it could be something that would be an attraction towards the city there.
The grant wasn't for buildings, the grant was for walking trails and stuff like that.
I thought it was just for parks,
Right.
You can make a park out of that for the city. It'd be a good idea. Just an idea out here, bringing the blues festival in, working that in there and making it more back into the days, and that'd be a very good idea there.
Yes, sir.
something to think about. We could probably use that grant money that way. I'll just put it out there, think about, you know.
Okay, I mean, I'll think about it, honestly. But that's one of the deals that you pay for it up front and hope you get your half back.
Hope you get your half back.
Well, there's no guarantee you go get your money back. You get approved, let me say this, you get approved what you want to do, but you bear all the costs, then at the end of the year, you get reimbursed for the portion of the grant that you qualify for. But I will look at it. And somebody's approached us about that deal, man.
One more question,
Okay.
or a statement maybe. You thought about getting someone or hiring somebody to go out and actually look for different companies to bring them in, proactively hunting down businesses to bring into our area? Have you thought about that, not putting it to the board? You might look into probably getting somebody or some type of, to have a
What
outgoing.
economic development does that.
Well, I'm talking for ourselves, you know, we as a city.
So that's what, we pay a membership fee to it. To Washington County Economic Development.
I understand paying, yeah, I know our senator's on the board of that as well. But I was just saying, ourselves being proactive ourselves.
Okay. What do you think? Okay. Y'all want to get this out of the way, let's talk. Mr. Dorsey, you want to start on the order?
Yes, I'll go start. I just want to ask those out there to do the things that they have done tonight. I guess my greatest concern is, here again, is on those of all the houses, the abandoned houses. I know we have sent letters out one time before. I don't know where we are with that right now. That's a concern that it's really a nuisance right in there.
So maybe we'll get together and get the pictures of the houses and get our phone.
You did say, and a community circle, and I know the problem, you discussed earlier about the nightlight there.
Yeah.
Every time we put nightlight up there, it's being shot out. That's one of the concerns that I think Twin County had every time we put one up there. And I don't know what we can really do about that. Every time we get one up there, the manager was concerned having lighting there.
Community circle, they just, they put so many up, they don't want to do it.
Right. That's the problem we have.
I mean, it's for the safety of their tenants. We could get them to pay for them. Is there something? Cheryl Atkins and then Linda Johnson.
Linda Jackson,
So,
Is there any sort of cover, a ballistic cover? I'm sure it's not a problem only here, I'm sure that's a problem elsewhere. I don't know if the utility companies make something like that. I'm certain it won't stop everything, but I mean, if it's pellet guns or whatever being used to do it.
I'll tell you, I found out, I got a telephone call in the morning to a guy in South Haven that's over street lights. That's what we're working on, getting this, all our street lights back in sync. I'll ask that question.
That's basically what I
Thank you.
Only thing I have is, Eddie, I want to thank you, because you guys did an awesome job of going door to door, notifying the citizens about the water outage and approximately how long it helped the citizens to prepare, and it didn't kind of catch them off guard, so everybody was pleased because they knew ahead of time. Also, thank you here for the work that has gone at the library. It looks better already, and I know they're just going to continue to work on it.
We're going to put new feedback.
And just a little bit better than you. It's gonna be very good. And also the ditches. Now, I don't think about the ditches. I know rain has started coming in, but trash is building up in the ditches. So if you have some free time or you can assign somebody to it, maybe we can start back cleaning out the ditches before they get out of hand.
Let me, for you guys, ladies, no. We're having trouble with it. Finally got this new stove put in over facility bill. Got it put in way before that. And fix some of the cabin floors, got that thing back up. Sort of apart right now. We're looking at new roof on it, we got that trapper's insurance, will pay part of the new roof or whatever. We have got stove fixed and a cabinet roll. Miss Stafford was happy with the new stove, but really needs one that,
Yes.
well, it's double up is what it is, I'm sorry.
Cemetery road. Can we do anything on your cemetery road? Can we do anything about that? They are happy that the road is there, but long-term, I think, the way the road is, when the heavy rain comes, it's causing problems for some of the grades, and then the condition of the road.
That's terrible.
Mhm. Yeah.
I've spoken with Mr. Holmes about maybe a little help.
Okay.
Blacktop, and got a big bad place down here on Morgan, where North Crowd Street runs into Morgan. We got a problem there.
And I know there's no place for drainage, but since the water has nowhere to go, it goes to the graves. And last year, we had an incident with a couple of the graves, so, because of that.
But I will talk to Mr. Holmes again. Dad, Morgan, and Crowd Street, we got some big holes there, like Dawson and Center Street, we got them in. And we take a talk, something about that real. Right, I'm sorry, Mr. Swin.
Okay, I ain't got much, it's, the streets, I talked to Ed about it, we ain't got a street sweeper. And I gotta put out some flyers to ask the resident on the streets from Rosenwald, well, the country street, from Rosenwald to McKinley. We got debris that left the yard, dirt pile up right on the curb on East Street. We still got that big problem on Sherman, that water, all over. But I asked Eddie when you get a chance to, if you could, get the workers and back over and get some of the debris up, somewhat like we do on East Avenue. But I'm gonna get out and ask the residents. I see some residents keep it clean out in front of their house. They just go on sweep. So if all of them just do that, help out the neighbors. We got a lot of vacant lots, so they would go down a little further, I wanna speak on, that place downtown, right here by Lee Hartwell. Will you mention that?
That's Crowd, West Crowd.
In the rail, right there, the cemetery. And I want to say to the citizens here tonight, let's get a jump on that grass. I know a lot of you guys don't live over in Jonestown, where the alleys and stuff is. I want to put out some flyers and tell the people to cut. The alley is a part of your yard. Each individual, they would clean the yard and clean the alley. It'll help us out. Because some of it ain't alleys no more. They just zigzag, some of them got their fences all over. But if everybody would go a little further, we can get a jump on this summer. Also, still concentrating on the park, Saddlefield Park, the center. We got some plans to update it. Got a group coming. I got about 3 volunteers already, 2 guys and a female. So they'll come in and help us out when we get ready to upgrade that park and make sure the citizens know that we running it. With some major police presence this summer and bring that park back to where it's supposed to be. All right, that's all.
Eddie, I'd like to ask you about the hold on Martin Luther King, just past Double Creek. The status on that, on the hold right there?
We will have that repaired very shortly.
Okay, we got a couple of them around town. Could be a hazard, I just was wondering about them. And that street, Carroll's Alley, we could grade that. We could get the county with that, road grade.
Only thing is, you can grade it so
It's
far.
below.
You can't,
What Ms. Nelson?
Right. And maybe try to seal it or something.
But often they've got like down railroad bed,
Right,
and they grab
right. And it's not real, it does create a lot of dust.
one.
So
So
that-
that's oil.
Yeah, and the city bond does look a whole lot better. Whole lot better. That's valuable.
A couple of, excuse me, a couple of things I had have already been touched on. One of them being the county barn, or the city barn. I know you guys put a lot of work into that, Eddie, and we appreciate it. In that same area, I know we've talked about maybe trying to take care of our woody debris in-house by possibly using, at the old treatment plant. I've got a few ideas about that, and I know someone that I can contact and possibly get the ball rolling on that. They're out of the country right now, but they'll be back next week. I can't promise anything, but if this person can help us, I mean, there's really nowhere to go but up, or down from this person, so. I'm hoping maybe they can help us, but I'm not gonna promise anything, but I am gonna ask them about it, so.
Wood product.
Just taking care of our biodegradable stuff. Yep. Not the other stuff, but, I mean, if we can take care of that part of it, Eddie, on our own right there on site, I mean, that should be a big help, right? 60%. Well, anyway, I'm gonna approach this person, and if anybody's got any ideas that they would like me to carry to her, I would love to hear them. Eddie, the place there on Church Street I was gonna bring up, but I saw you guys patch that. One other thing I noticed, our car collection there on East Avenue hasn't changed any since the last time it was mentioned. It's exactly the same inventory there. Our collector cars. And I'm not saying that facetiously. I mean, there's some 70s. I mean, there's a couple Monte Carlos and Chevelles and a Grand Prix and a nice old Impala. I'm not saying anything about them, but they're where we asked them to be moved from.
All they have?
No.
When I said ours,
Mr. Davis.
and that's all I had.
Can I ask Brian a question? Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, wait.
Oh, wait,
Let's, no, we got, look on item 20. Back. Let's get that, we'll go to that. I just think through jail report, the report dates, all of these, use the Washington County Fire District meeting. Minutes, those we have, what, 200, $400 on the fire call. Yeah, I get a motion.
Second.
I have a motion second. All in favor? Okay, announced to everybody, neighborhood crime watch meeting will be Thursday, February 5th at 6:30 here at the City Hall. And, you'll have the purpose and overview of the police department updates and the citizen input. It'll be here at 6:30. That'll be this coming Thursday. All right, we'll open it up, we still have some other business, but we'll go ahead, we'll go. Public comments, anybody have a comment, please? Ms. Anderson?
Mr. Brian, I'm doing good. Is there anything that we can do, even the us that live over in the area over there where the creek is, that we can do something, as a joint effort to kind of clean our creek up. That's a bad eyesore right there in that area. If I was able, when that water is down real low, and it gets low a lot of times, but we can just clean up all that mess out of there while it's low, because it looks so bad. Somebody is throwing trash in the creek.
Well, what happens is, big stuff gets stuck against those culverts during high flow, and progressively smaller stuff, and then the trash comes. I've been on about 60 miles out of 90 miles of Deer Creek, all the way from Scott to where it empties into the bayou north of Vicksburg, the diversion canal. And a lot of it is beautiful, free-flowing, open, beautiful. But when you get to pinch points where there's, privet growing, or where a tree has fallen, or old bridge pilings or something, everything just gathers up there. And, I don't know what the answer is in a lot of cases. A lot of it's remote places that would be tough to get to, but something like where you're talking about, it's easy to get to. The small stuff, yeah, it's no problem for us on foot or whatever to go down there and pick that stuff up when the conditions are right, but some of the stuff that gets washed up against those culverts right there, Mayor talked about one of those trucks that reaches down and grabs stuff. I don't know if we'd have access to something like that that could get it out of there, or whether we go down there with a chainsaw.
The last time,
Highway.
And I don't know if it will make a difference, even just to put some signs out there and say no dumping. We have people that fish out there. Somebody throw trash. I'm not talking about debris that have traveled up the. Somebody throw a bag of garbage off the bridge right down the street from where we live.
It's already illegal.
And it's just,
Look, it's like other things, we depend a lot on y'all. If y'all see that going on, speak up. Let's get those people that are doing that process.
You can go through that trash and find a name.
Now, that's what we normally do. And problem is, when folks throw out stuff that they aren't supposed to throw out, we go through the trash. And whoever name be in there, that's who pay the bill. But see, I know y'all probably gonna get that deep.
Yeah, and
Yes,
we used to have the Deer Creek Watershed Association too, and do the creek cleanups, but that is it's like everything else, the funding, and it's just not what it was, but I mean, if it gets down low enough where we can get to it, absolutely. I mean, why not?
It's gonna get back that low.
Oh, it will.
It will.
Summertime's coming.
Get low.
Well, I tell you what, Ms. Anderson, I'll talk to the guy over here and see.
Cause some of that stuff is.
Of course, and I'm telling you, the lines they just painted out here, I got elected in June and called them in July, and they just painted the week before that. And I've been, in all honesty, we've been promised 3 times they were gonna paint their part. But they'll tell you right quick, we'll get it when we're in the area. It's budget for them too. And I can tell you the line painting is not cheap. I'll give you, for instance, from City Drugstore to Santa Road is a little over $8,000.
And it's cheap.
No, that's a good thing, putting beads in it. But I have got, in my office in there, I bring them out, I've got 4 prices, anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000.
Who's responsible for Bailey Avenue, right there? Bailey Avenue. That state?
It's county across the bridge, city from fire station to the bridge, when you cross the bridge, it's county.
Pretty rough again too.
County maintains the bridge road. But that's not saying, but I'll to answer your question, probably I should already have. But the last time before I was even in the office, I saw the highway department with that, what they call that limb truck, picking that stuff up. Limb loader is what they call it.
I've been through those cement culverts in a flat bottom boat, so it can be cleared out.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
they fixed the street right here in front of Dollar General. But when it looks dangerous. Little part that you fixed right here by the bank and,
Why?
yeah, Dollar General. Where they had the water main, the burst or something, you all repaired it,
No way,
right out here.
no way, no way. That was Sunco.
Over Sunco.
They were making a sewer.
Okay, they need to come back and fix it, cause it looks dangerous. It's like it's gonna fall in if you drive over it.
Now, you talking about right out?
Right here,
Right there.
right out here.
Corner. You know, they put concrete out there, but the concrete higher than the asphalt, in the roads.
All I'm saying, it look like it's gonna open up and fall when you go in there. Can they fix that?
Yeah, we-
In all
It
honesty,
looks
I hadn't
dangerous.
even looked.
Well,
Jim Avis is, city engineer of Greenville.
I don't know who did it, but it's concrete on, it's not the same anymore. And it looks dangerous. I don't drive over, unless another car comes. They kind of drive around it, cause, it might be a hole gonna open up.
Is it there at the corner of South Street and East Avenue?
It's
There
right
in the
there.
street?
Where, by the bank, right here.
Right by the bank?
Right by the bank.
It's in front of Dollar General.
Nobody else has seen that.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You know what I'm talking about. It looks dangerous.
It's solid, but it does look like it'll give in, but
Yeah,
it
it
is
looks
solid.
dangerous.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, they
It
do
needs to
the
be,
big house.
they need to level it off or whatever. It looks dangerous.
They poured a ton of concrete.
They did.
Doing too much, maybe.
Okay.
They brought it back to the regular street level. And it don't meet where the asphalt comes up.
Right.
So you gotta build up of asphalt, and then they brought it back to the regular level of the street.
Right.
Right.
So now if you wanna put, so much asphalt in there to catch the other asphalt that's there, then that's what she's trying to say is.
Right.
But it's well fixed,
Yeah.
but the asphalt is higher on, they brought it to the regular street level and left it there. Like,
Okay.
which was right for them. So now do we put asphalt in there to bring it up to where that it just level all across?
Put stuff back like it was.
Well, it's well contracted out, so they did is, they met whatever they focused on there. They met that.
Back street level, because if you ever fix the street, it'd be right.
Right.
But if it don't, it's still gonna be until you do.
Yeah,
That's what
how
it is.
we have to do that.
Right.
I didn't know whether it was still with it.
It doesn't look like it's finished.
Right.
Okay, I'm not crazy.
No, it's not great.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. I am Foley Taylor, and this is really my hometown. My parents, P.D. Sherrod, I don't know if you know them in the past. Well, I'm the granddaughter. This is my hometown. And I just want to compliment the mayor that I have seen a great improvement coming in and out, through the graveyard and how the recreation center and everything. It looks really nice compared to the way it looked from other times that I came through the town. So I can see some improvement, and I really thank you for that. I can see that improvement. But my request and my concern is about, is there any plan or any possibility? I'm a person that believes all things are possible, because I believe in God. And I'm asking you, is there a possibility on your behalf to create, or whatever you have to do in the near future, or maybe put it in your plan and budget, that you would create some type of public transportation, or airport, Greyhound, bus service from here to there, Jackson, because I have people coming in, and it seems like I'm gonna have to really go way out of my way to pick them up to bring them here to my town. And I just want to know, is there a possibility? Could that really come to pass? Or could it be included in your budget or consideration?
Next. we're talking amongst ourselves, right? The only thing we have, ma'am, is Hager Transportation. I know, I remember when, Trailways, I believe it was Trailways pulled out, and they used to stop at Lee's Hardware, that was the, but the reason they pulled out, they did away with that route. They said it wasn't enough business here to stop. And what would happen, you'd have to buy your ticket from the bus driver, because they didn't sell tickets here. And they said it just wasn't enough revenue to make the stop in Hollandale. But we have Hager Transportation and Delta Ride, and I just signed the letter of intent for a shop down in Rolling Fork for Wisconsin. This morning for public transportation, try to get a grant for a bus, but that don't carry to Jackson, that carries the elderly to the doctor. And which they will carry to Jackson, but they're trying to get a new bus, and they're trying to get a grant, and we had to sign a letter of need, which I did that earlier this morning and mailed it back to them today. That's no joke. They're headquartered in Rolling Fork. There's a Care Christian Center, is what it is, and they're trying to get a new bus to, to transport folks. But I don't think we could talk to bus companies whoever's coming back. They just, where there's not enough revenue, they just not gonna stop.
She remember that the good old days when Greyhound used to come at the.
And the
Now,
airport too.
You got a picture of Sam Chapman getting on the bus.
I was just thinking, Ms. Taylor, you may want to contact the director of Hager, and he write grants for different proposals for transportation. He's affiliated also with Delta Rides. So I can give you his number in the morning, his name and number, and why don't you just give him a call and tell him about your concern?
I will.
Because he services Washington, Sharkey, Issaquah, he services all those counties, all these counties.
Okay.
So it may be quite possible that he could add something in.
Okay, I'll follow up with you with that
Okay.
information tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Anybody? Okay, nobody else in? Okay, Mr. Bowden, Hollandale School District in Bowden. Over here where the school buses park, we abandoned that street. And they've had 11 tires cut over there last week, and they fixed to put a fence around where the buses are. And they really need to room, but that street we have, I guess was a previous board abandoned street.
No, it hasn't been abandoned yet. We just boarded it up because we did the walking trail. Remember, in order for Mississippi Wildlife and Fisheries to pay for the trail, we had to block it so people would travel across the asphalt walking trail. So it's kind of blocked off where there's not through traffic anymore.
So how long ago was that?
2010, 12, 10,
Nearly
12.
4 or 5 years. So it's blocked.
What they're requesting to put a fence for security, and they're changing the lights out. And they want permission, they know we want on the land, they just want to put a fence there so we can have parking for the school.
Well, why don't we authorize them to do it?
I don't see
To
it.
do it. To legally go through an abandonment of the street requires going through a chancery court. I don't see, given the fact that it's been blocked off these 4 or 5 years, and it's not open for public use. Instead of jumping through a bunch of hoops, let's just all.
Could I give them
So moved.
a good second?
Second.
Have a motion second, all in favor?
It's been effectively abandoned, hasn't it? street anyway.
But it's just a chain link
Oh, yeah.
where they can get out. There's still gonna be a gate there.
Yeah.
Just playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
Don't we? What kind of problems do we open ourselves up to if somebody decides they wanna make trouble just because there's a fence? I mean, I don't see that happening, but
Well, we would,
because it's been effectively closed, I guess.
yeah, there's a distinction between closing and abandoning. So I think we're,
Exactly.
It's been so much times.
Ms. Atkins? Oh, Chief, I do.
Okay, I'm here about my personal grievances. I saw I cast out a letter on the 10th of last month. I'm not sure which y'all want to do, have it, or you don't have it, but if you do need a copy, I do have a copy. I also have a copy of my notice of suspension that was issued to me. And I was here, trying to see, well, what was my position with the police department, or I have a job, and I'm fired, and I'm still suspended, or whatever the situation may be. And I also issued an official complaint against the chief of police.
Ms. Atkins, to put it bluntly, your position of employment will be decided tonight.
Okay.
You want to make if you want to tell the board what your grievance is, that's fine.
Yeah, that is my grievance, about my employment also,
But a decision will be made on that
Yeah.
night.
I heard that I was,
Okay.
yes, sir. And, also about, well, I guess after you all decide, then you all decide whether my suspension was with or without pay. And also, I have a grievance about my complaint that I made with the city, and I issued to you all.
I don't think I've seen it. Let me look at it here, just a minute.
Also, I was trying to see, I did have personal days, that we didn't get paid for our vacation, not our vacation, for our, holiday pay, so I was trying to see if I could get paid for my personal time, since I wasn't having, I do not have income as of my suspension since last month on the 8th.
That was a 5-day suspension.
I got a, it wasn't supposed to be a suspension at all. We did have a meeting, he told me that I could return to work on Sunday, but he got someone to type, and, the assistant chief brought it to my house that Saturday to tell me that I was suspended until further notice because I refused to take a 5-month leave of absence. So, yeah, so even after that, that's where my complaint comes into play, where he came to Greenville, where I was verbally harassed, and for defamation of character, I have filed several complaints, not even with Hollandale, with Greenville, and also with EEOC in Jackson. I do have an investigator that is investigating as we currently speak. And also, do have an attorney that is on standby trying to see if we could, it's not my intent to sue the city at all, but at the same time, I want to treat it fairly just like everybody else. And I do have witnesses that say that he did come up there telling people that I was fired. If I was fired, if I did choose to seek other employment, there was no reason for me.
Well, first of all, I think this is something that should have been taken up in executive session.
Okay.
I don't think it's where we need to discuss it. Huh?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion for closed session?
So moved.
Second. Motion second.
When you got to find you somewhere to go. No, it was sure enough. I said, yeah, I ain't joking now. This is your last time. I'm going to sing it for you.